Hi everyone, I'm Akanksha Bilani. I lead the Alliance for AWS at Intel for the region of APJ, and I also lead the global GTM strategy for AI and HPC. I'm really excited here to be in front of you and to talk to you a little bit about demystifying a technology like AI for your businesses. With us in the industry, time and time again, what we've recognized is when there is a technology that's accessible, that's consumable, and when the barriers of its adoption are low, this gives rise to a tremendous amount of demand. And through that demand rise various business models, various usage models, and ultimately a lot of opportunity. AI is such a technology. It's really just about opportunity and making your data using technology and techniques to make it work for your organization. So the agenda for my session today will be about me walking you through the world of AI as we see it today in various businesses and segments. I'll tell you about Intel and AWS and what we have done to collaborate on this technology, especially on cloud. I'll tell you more about ways in which businesses today have adopted AI, some amazing success stories that will really blow your mind on what is possible with AI, and then close with actually giving you some indicators of how you can work with Intel and AWS to make this actually happen from a reality perspective for your organization. So let's get started. If you look at the slide behind me, this actually shows you the ways and the industries that have adopted AI. But to step back a little bit, I'll tell you a little bit about a survey that says that by the year 2023, we will have 50 billion devices and 500 billion sensors smartly connected over the internet. And 40% of these machines are going to communicate machine to machine. What does this tell you? This gives us the deluge of data that we live in today. When they say data is the new oil, they aren't kidding. Data is almost the new air. It's the new oxygen. And every one of you in your individual industries are sitting on this tremendous amount of data that actually needs to help you with driving a competitive as well as product value. A technology like AI is actually going to make this happen for you. One thing or three things that Intel provides to make AI happen for you is, number one, performance. Number two, performance. And number three, any guesses? Performance. Performance with the usage of computing power and technology for AI is really the only way in which you're going to drive the fastest and the most soluble business insights for your industry or your organization or for your team. And so focusing on how infrastructure, focusing on how technology optimization through the power of Intel that is on cloud is really the way in which you can take AI and adopt it for your organization. This slide actually shows you about how, as the world is moving into a data-centric mode, Intel also is moving from a PC-centric company to a data-centric company. Today, 93% of data centers are powered by Intel. So much so that we have over 81 million plus installations of the Intel Xeon scalable processors, our workhorse, our technology for making AI come to life. We continue to try and find solutions and partners such as AWS and platforms such as cloud computing to make this data-centric innovations that is built on Intel become a reality for you as our customer, as our partner, or the ecosystem that requires to dilute or really divulge on the data that you have. As I mentioned, Intel and AWS drive a very strong technology leadership in various workloads, such as AI. But to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing together, Intel actually has been customizing its silicon to be made available on AWS's platforms for over 16 years. That's right, Intel is available on the cloud as well. This is really because cloud computing really does transform the way in which you can use infrastructure to help you with the workloads and your software to help you build the right type of technology to make you competitive. And AWS continues to bend the curve on what seems possible. Another way in which I'd like to decrypt this is that in addition to the fact that AI needs performance, cloud computing also requires extreme performance. And the convergence of how Intel's technology actually drive fast cloud as well as fast AI is really the way in which you can take advantage of our collaboration. We have been building our Xeon scalable processors on AWS's EC2 platforms for years and years. And if you look at the box in front of me, you will see that we have over 250 plus variety or instances that are available on AWS EC2. Especially for AI, you probably are already leveraging on accelerated compute instances, on compute optimized instances, on memory or storage optimized instances, and all of these under the hood today are being powered by Intel. I'll tell you more about how AI from training to inference actually can come to life for you on AWS's platforms and AWS's services that are optimized with Intel's capability. You as cloud developers, programmers, data scientists are probably looking at various services that AWS provides to make machine learning and deep learning come to life for you. Whether it's working with SageMaker, whether it's working with deep learning AMIs, or even the applied AI services like Personalize, Comprehend, Reco. These are various use cases as well as services you can use for the various models that you are training as well as inferencing with the technology like AI. So across those various services, if you look at the slide behind me, with the optimizations that Intel has on its actual chip, which are built in with feature capabilities like AVX512 instruction sets, like deep learning boost capabilities, like vector neural network instruction sets, this actually is going to make sure that these features, if applied on AWS's services, pre-optimized for you, will drive up performance for any of the services, whether it's the 7.4x percentage increase in performance you can get on training, or the 12x performance improvement that you would get on inference journeys you will start to see if you explore better performance with CPU-based training as well as inference. These are the types of journeys you will start to see if you explore the optimizations on AWS services, on Intel-powered instances, on compute. Just a little bit more in terms of highlights from the work that we've done with AWS in the past. We launched the latest and the greatest DL1 or the Habana Gaudi processors, which provide you a 40% better price and performance on DL or deep learning training instances that are available on GPU instances on AWS. It's a great tool as well as an instance for you to use over existing GPU instances today. In addition to that, we also launched the Xeon instances, the latest and greatest that provide the fastest turbo boost as well as scalable processor capability on AWS EC2. So the combination of the CPU instances and the GPU instances today are going to make AI a reality. Of course, there's some great work that we've done with our customers, like using AI models to really take away the extinction of the Tasmanian devil in Australia, or even identifying the ways in which we can do faster simulations for bushfires that happened in Australia. So I told you a little bit about the great work that Intel and AWS have been doing in the world of AI. I told you a little bit about what AWS services you could utilize for doing machine learning and deep learning and build your models around AWS's services. I also want to show you this slide that actually talks about the plethora of services Intel has to offer that are available for you on AWS's EC2 platforms. And I'm going to start with the bottoms up. For you hardware as well as IT programmers, when you think about a heterogeneous environment for building infrastructure for AI, the workhorse for this would be the Xeon Scalable processors. These are CPU instances that you could use whose hardware features, if utilized in the best way, are going to help you with the fastest and the most pre-optimized training as well as inference models for your AI solution. In addition to the CPU instances, I mentioned to you the DL1 or the Habana Gaudi instances that provide you, again, a fast performance on deep learning as well as training on GPU instances on AWS. If you move up a layer, Intel has worked actually with all the various open source frameworks, whether it's MXNet, whether it's TensorFlow, whether it's any of the other open source frameworks, so that you actually use Intel software like the Data Analytics Accelerator library, like the Intel's distribution of the Python libraries, which are probably the low-level optimizations that you already do from a language perspective while you're building your models for AI. You want to take advantage of the optimizations that are available with our software stack to be able to get you the access on GitHub to the Intel optimized versions of the various frameworks that you might be using and leveraging. And then to sit on top of it, we also have some application kits like the OpenVINO Deep Learning Developer Toolkit that actually help you with better applied AI services like natural language processing, like computer vision, across the various industries, or even drive you with your smart projects that you might have be running as developers within your organization. So to tell you more about the CPU instances that I mentioned to you that are powered by the Xeon Scalable processors, what I do want to also just reiterate are the various hardware features, if you worked with the Intel team while you worked with the AWS team, that you could get access to, that are built onto our chip, that are really transforming the scalability and the mainstreaming of a technology like AI. If you see on my slide, you can see the percentage of performance that we can grow up on based on the performance, based on the vector neural network capabilities, the parallelism capabilities that are built onto our chip that make all of the services that sit on top on a CPU for cloud come to life for you. As I mentioned to you, Intel and AWS recently launched DL1 Habana Gaudi instances that are available on the AWS EC2 platform. And as I mentioned to you, because of the 8 accelerators that are built onto our GPU instances, this will get you access to 40% better price, as well as performance over existing GPU-based training instances on AWS today. Workloads such as natural language processing, like computer vision, or the optimizations you're driving on frameworks like TensorFlow and MXNet will actually be able to see the benefit of DL1. So I would urge you, when you're building your solutions or you're building your models for inference as well as training, you apply DL1 as the GPU training instances, and you apply the CPU instances, whether it's the C5s or the M5s or the R5s, for the CPU-based training as well as inference, which will really help you see the journey of the optimization and drive the performance to the best of its capability for your AI to make it work for you. As I mentioned to you about some of the cool success stories that we've had with our partners and customers, you as our developers, as AI enthusiasts, or even organizations that are thinking about adopting AI, this is an invitation for you to join our customer-centric and our pilot program. So Intel and AWS actually could collaborate with you depending on your use case, depending on the services that you're interested in looking for, and at the end of the day, your end result or your end goal for what AI needs to work for you, for your organization. From a journey perspective, we would collect and meet up with you between the Intel as well as the AWS engineering teams. identify the use case that we want to solve for your organization, and then set up a pilot for you where we can get you access to all the services and instances that I talked to you about, and walk you through this journey and making sure that that use case actually is going to be implemented well into your organization. So this is an open invite for you to collaborate and work with Intel as well as AWS. All you would really need to do is either hit me up on LinkedIn or reach out to your AWS account manager to help explore how we can make AI happen for you, for your organization. Other customers that have leveraged these partnerships as well as recognized the value of how AI on cloud can make this happen is amazing instances like the work that we did with Career Launcher. Career Launcher, being an educational portal, used technologies like AI to continue education uninterrupted in the crazy times of the pandemic, where today this platform is teaching over 1 million students across the world as well as in India to continue their journey on academia even if school is not online. Another really amazing instance is the fact that we built a national data platform as well as the Coven platform that is powered today on Intel and AWS that is administering capabilities and vaccinations to over 3 billion people across India on a daily basis. This is life-changing, it is life-impactful, and the capability of how data with the technology like AI is just mind-blowing if it's applied in the right way, with the right techniques and the right optimization. Another really great success story is the work that we did for Singapore Port, where we built strong capabilities as well as data models around contingent worker safety. These replicable solutions can then be applied into your industries for manufacturing, for any of your industry workers to ensure that if there are points of risk, AI and models built around that are going to make sure that your workers have safety in your organizations. So these are just a few of the amazing life-impactful applications to how AI is making us live better lives. Another really amazing example is the work that we did with Thorn. Thorn is an NGO that is built on mitigating child sex trafficking. The work that we did with Thorn on AWS's SageMaker as well as Reco services that were again optimized by Intel Xeon CPU as well as training instances ensured that we were able to identify 5,000 children that were victims of child sex trafficking in a matter of 5 hours, which typically was something from a duration perspective that the organization would take 28 hours instead. So the performance as well as the optimization actually helped save the lives of so many children at a much faster rate than they did earlier. Another great example is the work that we did with Food Asylum. So for all of you in the consumer as well as in the entertainment industry, as well as the media industry, if you have algos around knowing your customer better, for providing ways in which we can drive customized advertising for your customers so that they need to know your products better. Again, you can use technologies like AI, AWS's AI services, the applied ones that I talked to you about, and build them on Intel CPU instances to see performance like Food Asylum did for being able to identify the needs of your customer in 2 hours instead of what would take them 26 days. Hence, the performance is very, very key and important, and this is actually driven by the infrastructure you choose on cloud. Now, let's also hear from our friends at AWS on a technology like AI, on our partnership with Intel, and how this is driving impact to our lives on a daily basis.
Amazon and Intel have been collaborating on new technology for over a decade. Together, we've been able to pioneer new EC2 instance families which provide dramatically more bang for buck, more computational power at lower cost, which lets customers do more for less. The new C5 instance family, which we announced in November last year, is powered by a custom Intel Xeon scalable processor with a new microarchitecture, new hardware acceleration capabilities, and support for Intel's AVX 512 instruction set. The Intel Xeon scalable processor, combined with the innovations in networking and acceleration in the C5 instance family, bring about a major epoch in the world of high-performance computing, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. It's never been easier and more cost-effective to collect data at any scale, store it in a broad set of database and storage services, and then build custom machine and deep learning models. Today, businesses deploy more machine learning workloads on AWS than any other platform, including Aon, a large insurance and capital advisory company, who is running financial simulations using machine learning on AWS, which reduced the time to complete simulations from days to minutes. And the computational power of the Intel Xeon scalable processor lets customers use more data to create innovative new products and experiences powered by machine learning. Together with Intel, we've optimized deep learning engines with the latest version of the Intel Math kernel library and the Intel Xeon scalable processors available on the new C5 instance family to increase inference performance by over 100x. We've also worked closely with Intel to demonstrate how you can use familiar tools such as Apache Spark and BigDL to easily build distributed deep learning applications on AWS. High-performance computing allows engineers and scientists to solve complex, compute and data-intensive problems. HPC apps often require high network performance, fast storage, large amounts of memory, and very high compute capabilities, making them an ideal workload for our compute-optimized instances, including the new C5. Running these workloads on AWS gives customers instant access to thousands or tens of thousands of EC2 instances running Intel Xeon processors, allowing them to increase the speed of research in a cost-effective way that would not be practical in most on-premises HPC environments. For example, Novartis used 10,600 EC2 instances and approximately 87,000 compute cores to conduct 39 years of computational chemistry in just 9 hours, screening 10 million compounds against a cancer target. This magnitude of improvement is changing what is possible in industries such as healthcare, life sciences, financial services, scientific research, aerospace, automotive, manufacturing, and energy. We're super excited to see our collaboration with Intel continue and for customers to continue to innovate on AWS through the best performance available anywhere.
Even for you sports fanatics or people that are in the world of sports and entertainment, you could see the great work that we've done with 3DAT. And this is a success story on how DL1 or our Habana Gaudi instances helped identify in a matter of seconds instead of hours the health of the sports athletes that were participating in the Olympics, as well as going into the National Football League. So for all of you cricket fans and people that want to make IPL actually work for you, if you're a cricket enthusiast, if you're any part of any place in Asia, you probably would be. So all of you sports companies, you can take advantage of the GPU as well as CPU instances along with the AWS services and learn from the work that we did with 3DAT. Some more success stories on Habana and the DL1 instances is the work that we've done with Leidos, the work that we've done with Fractal on building national data platforms and contingenting actual blindness that happened from diabetic retinopathy, as well as the work that we did with Seagate to getting to know their customers better by driving deeper natural language processing models, as well as computer vision models to help them with their applications and their use cases in their organizations to help service their accounts and customers. And so, to wrap up, it's really about trying to make sure that today's technologies help you drive the best type of impact for your customers, to help you with the best competitive edge, to make sure that you are driving the right P&Ls for your organizations, and for you developers to learn the latest and greatest that's out there in the world of AI. If you are a cloud computing enthusiast, make sure that you recognize that if you want to try doing AI on cloud an infrastructure decision is very necessary, and what you want to do with your CPU and your GPU instances is also very necessary. So to summarize, really, it's about making sure that you recognize that AI as a technology is a collaboration. Second, it's about making sure that you also recognize that there are Intel instances that are powering the AWS cloud and making AI happen for you at a faster and the lowest TCO rate. And number three, again, the invitation is open. If you want to learn, if you want to innovate, if you want to collaborate, come to Intel and AWS, learn about how business challenges today can be solved with technologies like AI, and help us make AI actually impact the lives of every citizen on Earth. I invite you. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope that you found this session valuable, and I look forward to hearing from you on trying to build more groundbreaking ways in which AI can make us all live better. I thank you so much. I'm Akanksha, and I wish you a good day.